It's fascinating how these games that we all just play for fun really, but how many technical and artistic challenges goes into making them.
What games is really just a marriage of like every type of art. You can really do anything as long as there's a strong enough vision.
It's the idea that you can make something out of essentially nothing. That is just the most incredible feeling for me.
Liverpool's role in the games industry is often overlooked, and it needs to be included within games history.
I am from Liverpool, but strangely enough, I was not aware of how big the industry is within Liverpool and the Northwest.
Everyone seems to think it's either Japan or America and not so much in the UK. It's weird that people don't know.
Historically, Liverpool has been a real hotbed of talent from video games. If we go right back to the Atari days and then through to pre-PlayStation when Psygnosis were really, really hot. You know, you think about things like Lemming published through here, you think about some of the other games like Microcosm, and then right through to the initial games on PlayStation, and Wipeout, Destruction Derby, Formula 1. These are seminal titles that really broke the market open and changed people's perceptions of what video games could be.
Because it's a relatively young industry, some of the pioneers of those games that came out 20 years ago are still working in the industry now. So it's not like music where maybe some of the pioneers have been long gone for 50 years and you can't really relate to them. I think looking at the history now, you could bump into some of the makers of Wipeout or Destruction Derby in the street in Liverpool at any point. So I think it's interesting as a young industry to really look into that, because I think there's still an opportunity for you to get into games and work with people who've made the games that you played when you were 6, 7, 8, 9, 10 years old, which I think is a really interesting thing about the industry.
If you don't get video games, you don't understand it, you don't see it as a career, and you don't really see it as a creative pastime. When you work inside a video game studio, you see the amazing creativity that goes on from day one, from the concept right through to the execution and to the launch of it. There's creative elements right the way across that, you know, coming up with the idea, making it happen, and then making people aware of it and telling it. So the school is for 14 to 18-year-olds. It is specifically set up to look at the digital and creative industries with a focus on gaming.
We have a great partnership with industry, and that helps us to design our curriculums around what's actually needed for the industry. We've had a number of students go on to employment straight out of college, or we have students going to some of the best universities in the world for games design.
One of my mantras is be a creator and not a consumer. How do we change a mindset from I'm going to eat a diet of TikTok, YouTube, whatever the Instagram, whatever the diet is, but I'm not going to give anything back. Content has a value. Content creators have a value. And you know, we're all about getting our students ready for that.
We're teaching students not only to develop games, but actually using the program languages and development environments to solve problems.
I haven't had to move away from home, which has been very useful to me. I've managed to get a fantastic education. I've managed to also get a job in the games industry once I finish university, or within driving distance of where I live now. Or even just outside of Liverpool, you've got Activision in Warrington, you've got Codemasters and D3T in Runcorn, and then you've got Manchester, which is very commutable as well, so we are very lucky in the Northwest.
A lot of the technologies that kind of come out of the games industry you find in other industries as well, most notably like computer-aided design or the film industry, and a lot of the skills you kind of learn in it do apply elsewhere as well, because there's just so many fields that goes into game development.
I actually came into this industry quite late, so I want people to know that it's never too late to do this. And also it takes people with diverse backgrounds to make great games.
Year by year, it's a pretty constantly evolving industry where the things we were doing 2 years ago, are very different to the things that we're doing today. And that's quite exciting for us to see new things on a regular basis. It's all about why people stay in the area. We've had people who've come to the area for university and stayed because it's a friendly, lively, it's a creative city. They're getting their buzz from the arts, from the music, so they're getting everything they want creatively from the city, and that just flows back into the games. This background in music and the arts can only help inspire people to come to the city and then want to stay and then bring their experiences into games. I think the barrier to creating a game is kind of disappearing, really. It's not as expensive and not as difficult to get into. So I think I'd encourage people to just try and make something. Even if you make it and you fail, the attempt of trying to make something is part of the creative process, and I think it's really important that they just give it a go.
We're in a really good position to kind of lead the world in games, and we should see ourselves as world leaders.
There's so many more stories from Scousers that could be told in really, really interesting ways through video games that really we just haven't seen yet.
When it comes to what's coming next in games, I think the sky's the limit, and that's never going to be a bad thing. To have more input means better output.